Hi, it's Rachel Maldonado. Belief in the human spirit and desire to connect is the reason I want to tell your story and mine. And I am with Kyle Reyes. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yes, Kyle, tell me what you do.
That's a really good question. I some days I feel like I'm a professional firefighter, always putting out fires for businesses. Other times I feel like I'm a professional babysitter, depending on how things are going with my staff or clients for the day. Other times I'm I don't know. Listen, I'm a dad of four little girls. I'm a husband to a woman who's totally out of my league and yet the greatest woman on the face of the planet. And I own a number of different companies, but Fox News called us America's most patriotic marketing agency for our marketing agency, the Silent Partner Marketing. I own the largest police news outlet in the world, and then I've got some other tech startups and a bunch of other small businesses on the side.
Ooh, well, Kyle, I heard of fires. Can you tell me about that? What was a memorable fire that you had to put out?
Oh my God. I mean, listen, the name of the marketing agency is the Silent Partner Marketing because we offer our clients non-disclosure agreements. So we won't tell who they are or what they do or that we are the ones who are running their marketing, which is how we are powering some of the most conservative brands in Connecticut. But I'll tell you, we've had, past experiences have been everything from companies that have reached out that weren't our clients that said, "Hey, I heard you guys could help with PR. Our CEO just got arrested for a DUI and had a prostitute in the car with him, or one of our employees was just accused of murder. And I mean, just like you wouldn't even believe some of the phone calls that we get on a regular basis. Not to say that we take them all, we don't, but we've had some interesting experiences.
Wow. Well, Kyle, I feel like your clients and mine are similar because, of course, the dicier the better. That's great. And then when you're balancing so many companies, do you feel like your support staff is integral? Your wife? How do you have that energy to do all that you do?
I mean, I drink a lot of coffee, a massive amounts. I'm addicted to pre-workout before I go to the gym. That's sort of how I get energized. But at the end of the day, everything that we do in all of our companies, it's to serve God, family, and country.
Mm.
We are. I am personally a biblical conservative, biblical constitutional conservative. So all of my political perspectives, leanings, everything are based on the Bible and the Constitution. But behind every good man is a much better woman and a much better support staff, as you said yourself. So my wife is unbelievably supportive. I had to do 175 flights last year for work. It was insane, and so she's just an amazing hero in my life. And then our teams at all of the companies are just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. Not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody besides Jesus is perfect, but man, it is. I've got some incredible people behind the companies.
For the people, do you feel like they want to work because they believe in it? There's an extra piece to this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Rachel, we don't pull punches, right? Our marketing agency, for example, went viral in 2017 when we launched our hiring process, and it became dubbed by the mainstream media as the snowflake test. So it was a test that prospective employees would take. 30 questions, short answer, essay style, things like what does America mean to you? How do you feel about police? How do you feel about guns? When was the last time you cried and why? My favorite question in there is you're sitting in Starbucks having a coffee. Someone
I
runs
love
in,
Starbucks.
hands you a gun, and says in 30 seconds, someone's going to come in and start shooting. What happens next? Well, it's a trick question. Real Americans don't drink Starbucks. And so, the reality of it is that this was a glorified personality test, right? Like we wanted to see how people would formulate a response and how they would justify their perspective. There really is no right or wrong answer to any of the questions, but I want to be able to see that people can come to their own decisions. People can take a stand and stand by that. Pick a hill and die on it, and make sure that you don't screw up the entire application with spelling and grammar errors.
Yes. And do you feel like you got a backlash for your snowflake hiring test?
Oh yeah, I mean, so we got 40,000 emails in a week. We did 14 appearances just in the first few days on Fox and Friends First, Varney and Company, Kennedy, Adam Carolla, Louder with Crowder, Risk and Reward. I mean, every one of the big shows, Pastor Greg, we did them all. And 40,000 emails in a week, 10,000 job applications. I had like three job openings at that point. It was nuts, but we were flooded with lots of love. And like in that day, Rachel, we became the most loved and the most hated marketing agency in all of America in, 1 week. And so, sure, we got backlash, but 2 years later, Fox and Friends sent a crew out to our studio and did a "Where Are They Now?" because they were told, these guys are going to be out of business. They're racist, sexist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, pull a random card out of the liberal hat. And so they said that we were going to go out of business, and we did not. We grew tremendously as a result. And that was when Fox came back out and called us America's most patriotic marketing agency because we don't care. We don't care what people think. We don't care what the haters think. There are always going to be haters. But when you double down on embracing your values as an organization, you win every single time.
Mm. And your clients, they want to be on the winning team. They like winning marketing. And do you find that they sometimes question your methods? Or are your clients tend to think like you because they chose you?
So on our very first call with pretty much every company that we end up doing
Yeah.
business with, I look them right in the eye and or shake their hand and I say, I don't care about your feelings. Nobody on my team cares about your feelings. I don't give a damn about them. What we do now, listen, on a personal level, we do, and we express that to
Yes.
them. Like when we are out afterwards, this is why we become so close with our clients because we'll go out to dinner with them, we'll travel with them, we shoot guns with them, we drive race cars with them. Like we do some really cool stuff and become extremely close. And obviously, we care about them as people and their families and their loved ones. That's why we're in this, right? But when it comes to making recommendations or decisions in business, I don't care about feelings.
Mm.
That's super important because there's so many marketing agencies out there that will tell
Mm.
businesses what they want to hear, or they will make them feel good about really stupid decisions that some overpaid middle management member trying to protect his or her own job has made, and they're more worried about covering their own butts than they're worried about productivity and making money for the organization. And so there are marketing agencies all day long that will BS numbers and be like, look at how many unbelievable impressions you have. And I don't care about impressions. I care about making money for
Mm.
businesses. And I
Yes.
care about helping them present a true and authentic voice that aligns with their values without having to pander and cater, but also understanding the fine line between not pandering and catering, but understanding their market and their target demographic and not unnecessarily making enemies. And so,
Yes.
even though we are the most patriotic marketing agency, arguably in the world, the brands that we work with typically can't take a political perspective or a
Yes.
political stance. And so there's that tightrope that you have to walk between knowing and embracing and understanding your values as the owners of an organization or the board of an organization, recognizing the mission, vision, and values and what they can and cannot do or say publicly. A great example of that is if you look at the riots of 2020 and 2021,
Yes.
look at how many companies pandered to the
Mm.
extortion, the mafia-like techniques
Mhm.
employed by Black Lives Matter as an organization that
Yes.
really was a shakedown. It was a massive
Mm.
shakedown. And so when you look at how many companies funded an organization that afterwards became probably one of the most corrupt organizations they were exposed as in the United States, suddenly these companies that, thought that they were doing the right thing, realized very quickly that they made a huge mistake and they never wanted to do it to begin with, but they felt like they had no choice. And so some of our companies, we're like their chief marketing officer and marketing support staff. We do all of their strategy and design and graphic design and cinematography and PR, whatever they need. We're able to kind of step into that role and fill that role. But most importantly, it's about that strategy. How does it all help you get the right message to the right person at the right time without compromising the mission, vision, and values of your organization?
Mm. So you have that dual mandate with the competence and the character, and that makes you a cut above.
Or crazy. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. But, I look at this as I think my friend Ted Nugent put it best when he said, America is the greatest social experiment in the history of the world. And our company, in some regards, is a
Yes.
spectacular social experiment in business, which is
Mm,
can you become extremely
yes.
productive and effective and profitable by doubling down and
Mm,
not negotiating on your values? And if I'm totally wrong on this, if
yes.
God one day says, you know what, I've got another plan for you, worst case scenario, I could sling a mean drink and I'll just go back to bartending because failure
Yeah.
will never be an option when you are a dad and a husband and a business owner. You cannot fail. It's just not
Yeah.
part of the vocabulary.
You mentioned doubling down, Kyle, and of course the Marxist BLM and the onslaught against the police, back the blue. You own this agency. Tell me about that, because with that you have to double down.
Yeah, so the 1776 Project is another one of our companies, and it owns Law Enforcement Today, Blue Lives Matter, the Police Tribune, Mike the Cop's YouTube page, Law Enforcement Family, Law Enforcement for Life,
Yes.
a whole bunch of smaller, I say smaller, but collectively we have 4.8 million followers on social media. We're doing about 3 million page views a month on the website, and we just kind of relaunched the site, so that's growing very
Yeah.
rapidly. Our board of advisors, as the heads of the largest police groups in the country, have personally interviewed over 1,000 wounded officers, surviving family members of officers killed in the line of duty. I travel all over. I'm spending a lot of time on the border with video crews and
Mm,
law enforcement at the state, local, and federal level. Someone's got to tell their story.
yes.
And there are so many stories out there that people ignore because it's not popular or it's not cool.
Mm,
Well, you know what? The right side of history is the
yes.
side of history that defends the innocent, is the side of humanity that protects people that cannot necessarily protect themselves and also protects the rights of
Yeah.
Americans to be able to protect themselves and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for far too long, we've had too many individuals in this country who would sacrifice security for liberty. They deserve neither. One of our great
Mm,
forefathers once said, we need to fight for, and when I say fight, please understand, I'm not sitting here in front of you all calling for war, right? Like that's the
mm,
last thing that we want to see. But to fight means that we need to stand up and speak out and stop capitulating to the
yeah.
demands of these radical Marxists and these communists who are hell bent on destroying America from within.
Mm. So beautiful that you double down, you also back the blue. And Kyle, my last question for you. What makes you feel alive?
So, looking at my little girls running around, having a good time, playing on the playground, looking at the amazing mother that my wife is, and seeing this family that we're raising, that 100% makes me feel alive as an American, knowing that we are fighting
Mm,
for a country that will be safe for them. Our church community, the Church of 1122 out in Florida, is an amazing community and helps us to know and
yes.
understand that it's not about the short blip that we have here on Earth, but it's rather about eternity. And so we are raising our girls to be, good little Christians who know and love Jesus and God. And so that makes me tick as a man. And I'm also doing a season 3 of Real Man TV right now. We go live with the first 2 episodes on Pursuit Channel in a couple of weeks here. And so that's super exciting because I get to travel the country doing really cool man stuff and talking about entrepreneurship and leadership and being servants and honoring God. And so
Mm.
I'll tell you what, doing a wild boar hunt out of a chopper in Texas in the middle of the night or, high speed racing and zip lining across canyons and volcano sledding kind of makes me feel alive.
Wow. Thank you so much,
Of
Kyle
course.
Reyes.
Thanks for having me.